You know, one of the best things a person can do if they want to live a more enriching life, it's doing hard things. And I know it seems counterintuitive, but it kind of goes back to that saying that if you want to have an easy life, you have to do the hard things. And if you want to have a hard life, only do easy things. And I've seen this play out in my own life. You know, there's been times in my life when I've been very used to living compulsively from emotions, desires, whatever it is, and it bleeds out into everything in life. It's like a muscle that we have that we strengthen within ourselves. And it's patterns. It's essentially what it is. It's habits and it's patterns. And the times in my life when I've been the most compulsive with whatever it is, it usually starts off with one thing. For me, it was always my phone, having high screen time. And the more that impacted my life, the more it bled out into other things. My diet started to drop off because, basically it was like it all came down to what I think is that reward pathway in the brain. And the more that we stimulate our mind with certain things that cause pleasure in the brain, the easier it is to do more of that, but the harder it is to do things that are actually the opposite of that. And in fact, it gets to the point where you don't even have to do hard things. If you're just not doing the easy things or those types of activities that stimulate that part of your brain, life is just kind of boring and it sucks. And it creates a lot of inner turmoil, if you will. Eventually, yeah, if you're not always doing that, you're just bored. You feel like you need it all the time. And that's something called tolerance. It's like anything. It's like drugs. If you need more and more of it to get the same effect. And so I've noticed that play out in my life, and I've been on the other side of it too, where when I intentionally do things that are difficult or outside my comfort zone, it doesn't mean you have to be David Goggins about it, where it's like there's this inner drill sergeant in your head that's telling you that, you're worthless if you don't, run 100 kilometers. I mean, that's out of balance, I think balance is very important with this, but intentionally doing things that, maybe are inconvenient, or they're slightly outside your comfort zone, or they scare you, or the things that you've been avoiding. It has a very powerful effect on our lives. And the example I'll give with that is I don't like running. I'm not a long distance running kind of guy. I've always been more into lifting weights. And I decided that every week, once a week, I was going to go for a run. And when I started doing that, it changed something for me. I always do it on Sundays, so it changed something for me. And that also permeated the rest of my day, my habits, which bled out into the rest of my week. And attacking other things that that were inconvenient, or things that I've been putting off. And things really start to change for me after I started doing that. It's funny because, as I said, in doing these difficult, inconvenient things, I actually felt better within myself. I felt liberated. I was getting more things done. I was moving the needle in my life. And everything started to change. It's very, very easy, though, to live compulsively. In fact, it's easy. I mean, it's easier to do that than it is to do the hard things, obviously. And I think that companies have started to take advantage of that. Again, social media, for example, like these apps are designed to get you hooked on them and addicted, and so you can spend as much time as you can on them. These algorithms, everything. And it doesn't just, it's not just social media. It's all these different companies, food companies, chock full of all kinds of ingredients that'll just stimulate that part of your brain, get you addicted to them. It's everything, and it's just to capitalize on you and pushing this button in your brain to keep you hooked on it. And if we're not careful, we just become slaves to our mind. Like I said, it bleeds out into everything that we do. And it becomes a way of life. So if you ever feel like you're, kind of stuck, lost, you're living on autopilot, ask yourself how much you're only doing the things that are easy or living compulsively in life. And start intentionally doing something that is hard, inconvenient, or outside your comfort zone. Be kind to yourself along the way. It's not about needing to drive yourself into the ground and do a workout that is so hard you can barely walk afterwards. It's not about that. It's just about getting outside your comfort zone. It's just about inconveniencing yourself a little bit, because it's important to do that. Like I said, if we don't intentionally do that now, you never really have to. Life is so convenient now. Whereas, in the past, you didn't have all this technology to make life so easy. The easier life is, the harder it becomes. There's a saying, and it's like, strong people create easy times create weak people create hard times create strong people. And so, it kind of goes through, right? So I don't know where we are right now in that cycle, but I think life is easy in a lot of ways. Externally, you can get AI to write your emails and do all the things for you, and it just there's you don't have the inconveniences that you had back in the day. And I think that it's created a lot of mental disturbance in a lot of us, and in the way that we live our lives. We can just sit there and scroll all day or be on our phones, and that impacts our activity levels, which impacts our mental health, which it permeates everything in life. So if you want a healthier, more conscious, more enriching way of life, start intentionally doing something hard for yourself. You pick whatever it is. For me, it was going on runs. And the more I did that, the more I took on other things that were inconvenient. So it's not easy. That's kind of the point, though. You build up this muscle within yourself. We always have, it's two paths in the road. We can be compulsive or we can be conscious. We can do the easy thing or we can do the hard thing, the thing that requires a little more effort. And in doing the hard thing, you separate yourself from the person that you would have been, and you travel on those two different paths. And the paths get further and further away from each other the more that you walk those paths. Your lives, the life that you would have lived just doing the easy thing, and your life that you can live doing more difficult things. Not all the time. Life doesn't have to be this constant thing of I always need to do hard things. But again, just not always doing the easy thing. When you can get used to doing inconvenient things or hard things, your lives go in completely different directions. You can create a totally different life for yourself doing that. Or we stay complacent, because that's what doing easy things is. It's staying complacent, it's staying in our comfort zone. And as they say, your comfort zone is where dreams go to die. It's not necessarily about living dreams, though, chasing these arbitrary goals. It's just about having a more fulfilling way of life now within yourself. That's where the shift has to happen first. Because when that shift happens, things start to change outside of you. This is what I've realized in my life. Doing hard things is liberating. Only doing easy things creates a prison. And that prison can feel very difficult to break out of. like I said, before you know it, it's not just scrolling your phone in the mornings or all the time. It's now I don't want to go and work out. Now I'm only eating crappy foods. I only crave those kinds of foods. I don't want to eat, the vegetables because it's boring. I don't want to read books. I don't want to, do the things that are going to require a little more effort because it's hard. It's boring. It's dull. Life becomes these things that actually provide you with a healthier, fulfilling way of life become very dull on the surface when you think about it. So we just prefer to go for that instant gratification. So if you feel like you're struggling with this, just be aware of it. Start to pause with those compulsions. Start to ask yourself, what is the cost of me continuing to live my life this way? In the way that I feel. Life will feel empty if you always do easy things. I know what that's like. So, pause, be aware, and intentionally go and do something hard for yourself or inconvenient. And you'll notice how things really start to change almost instantly after doing it. It's not like your entire life changes, but you feel better. And then you start getting momentum going in a different direction, a direction that will actually lead you to a more meaningful life, a more purposeful or enriching life for yourself, or a healthy life, whatever that looks like. So pick one thing that you're going to do on a regular basis that is hard, that's outside your comfort zone, and go and do that. And you'll see how things start to change. It'll be like dominoes. You knock one over, and the rest of them fall over. But instead of you knocking the domino over of compulsive living, which is going to knock over the other domino of eating and all these other habits, the domino you're knocking over is one of health, consciousness, the life that you want to live, the person you want to be, and you'll start to walk that path. You'll build more confidence within yourself to go and be able to do these things. And life will start to change. You'll start to change. You'll feel better. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And it's the path to sustainable change. So, hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.